Hi, so in today's video I'm going to look at whether music can help you to learn a language, and by music I mean song. So first of all, a big thank you to everyone who watched my last linguistics video and who left a comment. It was really great to see a discussion getting going there. So back to the topic. Can music help you learn a language? It all depends, as I'm going to probably say a lot in a lot of these videos. So it is certainly, learning songs in the target language will certainly be an aid to learning the language. First of all, it's an enjoyable thing to do if you're into singing, or if you just like listening to music. So the aspects that would actively help you learn a language: rhythm and melody. So even if you're not actually singing it, you might be tapping your feet along or jiggling along, and moving along to the music in itself. That will help you engage actively with the lyrics. It will help you remember. So there's all that, and obviously the whole thing about music being quite catchy. Now, good lyrics are very natural. They fit completely naturally with the rhythm and the melody. So, by singing along even in your head, it will actually help with accent and how the language sounds, what the general pace of the language is. So that is a really, really good thing to come out of using music as part of your language learning. And also it does help with accent, because when you're singing something, it's actually easier than when you're speaking it, even if it's in a foreign language. It's just easier, and sometimes singing is a technique is used to help overcome a stutter. So there's all these good things, but I mean, to what extent can it help you become completely fluent in a language? Again, it depends. So let's start. When you're at school, you might learn some songs in another in another language. Let me have a slurp. So for us, the other language was French. We learned a few songs. I remember that the first that we learned when I was about 6 was Sur le Pont d'Avignon. And we learned Frère Jacques because we learned singing around. And we also learned Au clair de la lune, in the silver moonlight. Did it help my French? I have to say, not really. I mean, it certainly did help. I think it was a great thing that we did this. Did I learn any more French than I would have otherwise because of it? And I think probably not. I mean, by the time I came to learn French in school, I already knew some French. So I think it was more that I already knew some French words before I had an actual French lesson. That probably helped more than the little songs that we learned. But I definitely recommend teaching children the target language through song. Is a great way to learn. The song that actually, well, one of the songs that actually helped me learn the language was actually Latin, because, and I tell you why the Latin did it and the French didn't. So for Christmas one time we learned a song, it went Gloria in excelsis Deo Pax Perides hominum. So glory to God in the highest. We had the words translated, and the difference between this song and the French songs, this was more of a proper, I mean the other songs were proper songs, but they were aimed at children. This one could be sung by children and adults alike, so it was almost like a proper grown-up song. So that, I remembered that song because it was a proper song. And even though it was one song, it had a big impact to then be able to recognise little phrases in Latin. Not that I ever really learned Latin. I mean, I did a little bit much later on, but that kind of got me started in, because there's a lot of Latin things. If you're at the doctor's, there's a lot of names in Latin. So that kind of got me started of being a little bit inquisitive and going, oh yeah, that means, whatever. So that actually had a bigger effect on me. So one thing I would say in this is, if you want children to grow up with good language competence and you're going to use song to do it, I mean, yeah, it's great, have the little nursery rhymes, have the age-appropriate songs, do all that, but at the same time, they also need to be coming into contact with proper adult songs, because if you learn Jack and Jill Went Up the Hill, like when you're 4 years old, by the time you're 5, you've grown out of that. So the thing with the French songs we learned is obviously they stopped being relevant after a certain age, whereas the Latin song was relevant from day one. You could grow up with it and it would still be okay. So let's say you want to teach children some French songs, take a song a year, and I can't really think of any offhand because I'm thinking Edith Piaf, I'm trying to think of child-appropriate content that you can also grow up with. Maybe some Vanessa Paradis. She does nice songs that children could sing, but adults will also appreciate. So you take, or, folk songs as well, you take one song a year, and obviously with age appropriateness, you want it to be simple enough, for whatever age group. So say one song a year all the way through school, and then they got a really nice selection of good songs. And to be honest, it only takes 2 or 3 really, really well-chosen songs that, those children can grow up with, to give an awful lot of lexicon and grammar, so you can get quite in-depth language and language skills from, just a few well-placed songs. So say you're a grown-up and or you're a bit older or whatever, and you think, oh, okay, so if I listen to lots of songs, it will help me learn the target language. It can do. Again, it depends. It really depends on, well, what the songs are like in the target language. Because, for instance, so, I mean, I've had to learn Norwegian. Have I done it through song? Not really. Sorry, Norway, but I mean, they've got nice songs in Norway, and they do have some great bands who sing in Norwegian, but for me, that culture just isn't there. So I wouldn't be so engaged with it. However, when I was in college, I did, because I'm interested in lots of different music, the New Age, post-industrial New Age, I was very, very into that, and a lot of that was in German. So, I mean, Kraftwerk, DAF, Einstürzende Neubauten, I loved all that stuff, and I still love all that stuff. Because I was so into the music, it really helped me to learn some German. Obviously, I was into the whole culture as well. So that was something, because I was engaged with that side of it, it really, I mean, I'm not saying I've got good German, because, I mean, I did try and learn a little bit, but I never really kept it up. But because of that music that I was into, I got some German, and I can understand little bits and pieces of it. And I can safely say, without having had that interest in that music, I would not know really that much German at all. So you want to learn a target language by listening to the music. It will certainly help. Because any activity that you do with the intent of learning something, it's always a good idea. It helps. It's a creative thing to do. Will it help you learn any more than going to class? Any more than having a conversation with people, than reading books? I don't know. I don't think so in itself. It's an aid to learning. It's really good for, obviously, the whole way song works on the memory. Now, you certainly can become native fluent in a language through songs and music, but these things have to be in place first. First, you actually do have to be into music. All right, you don't need to be able to write like Beethoven, I'm not saying that, but music has to be your thing. I mean, you can just love listening to a certain type of music. You don't have to play, you don't even have to sing. But the music has to be your thing. So the next thing is the music. That is the music of the target language. That really has to be your thing. the music, the language, the culture, it just has to be a part of your everyday. And if you're deciding, well, I'm going to listen to music and it's going to make me better at languages, yes, it will. It certainly will. But it won't make you native fluent. To be native fluent, if you're into music, you're into that particular music, that particular dance, you know, those particular artists. If it really, really is your thing, you're not even going to notice that you're actually learning a language, because I'm talking about an instance where the music, the culture, all that background is actually more important than the language. So you're into it, even though it's in another language, and you end up knowing the language anyway. So the language just happens to be a secondary byproduct of another activity that you're really, really into. So that is what I've got to say about songs and music helping you to learn another language. It's good. You should really, really do it. What sort of success you get, like I say, it depends on a lot of things. So, yeah, please like and subscribe, and hope to see you in the next video.